On this week's episode of FR Racing's Garage Talk, we're joined by Gracie and Celine of the Podium Pop podcast, and we do an IndyCar 2026 season preview, all that and more, right now.
Hello everyone, my name is Gracie and I'm here with my co-host Celine. We are Podium Pop and we have a motorsport podcast and we are with some guests today.
And I'm DJ Fluck.
I'm Eric Richardson.
And welcome to FR Racing's Garage Talk. This is our collaborative episode. We're going to spend today talking about the 2026 IndyCar season. We're going to look at the schedule, driver changes that have happened this year, what we're excited for, what we're not excited for, and kind of get into the, what does IndyCar have to do to build off of their first year relationship with Fox and build that momentum. So kicking it off, as far as driver changes go, there's one big driver change that sticks out in my mind. I don't know if you feel the same way, if we're on the same page here, but
I know who I have in mind.
I know who you have.
I have one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Will Power.
That wasn't who I was going to say. All right, we are not on the We are not on the same page.
No, I guess not.
Okay, how about let's take it back. New to the series driver.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I think we froze.
We froze for a second.
Oh, so I was going to say we change it up
No,
to a driver who's brand new to the series with some name recognition.
I was going to say Mick.
Sure,
there we go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mick
That's
Schumacher.
who I was thinking.
Mick Schumacher, son of Michael, will be driving for Ray Hall.
I'm pretty excited to see what Mick can do this year.
I think he'll be good on the road. The ovals are what I'm going to be interested to see him on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll give him some grace for sure, but I agree. I think he'll be good on the road.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough for him to transition from what he was doing from like sports car racing to an oval. Mm-hmm. But I think I always use this as an example. I mean, we said the same thing about Robert Schwartzman, and he came in and got pole at his first oval. So I think it's going to be an easy excuse for him to say, "Oh, I've never done an oval before." But I think it also gives him a good opportunity to be like, "Hey, this is my first oval, and look at what I can do." So it could be potentially a really great story for him.
Yeah.
The thing with Mick is he's going to a track to make his oval debut where nobody has raced on this configuration before at Phoenix. So
yeah.
Does he have a disadvantage because nobody else has raced on that? I mean, it's different from the last time they were there 7 or 8 years ago, and even then, there's only what 4 or 5 drivers left that raced in that race.
I think that's what we figured out.
Yeah, you've got Newgarden was there, Will Power was there, Scott Dixon was there, Graham Rahal was there. Is there anyone else?
I think that might have actually been it. It was just those 4.
Yeah.
That might be it, yeah. So, and that was 4 on the old config, so it's like, is he really going to have a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That one would be interesting, I feel like. And the fact that it's like kind of the beginning of the season, too, will be interesting to see how everything shakes out from there.
And I do like the dual IndyCar NASCAR weekend. I know that each other don't want to do this. It's pretty clear that Fox was behind this push, but NASCAR and IndyCar are struggling against Formula One. Like Formula One has the global market right now. They are the number one global series, and these two are going to have to get along. Like, yes, you're competing separate series, but it's like if you want to survive. See what I did there? Yeah. They probably have to work together. It's like you got to regroup that U.S. audience that both series have lost over the last 20 plus years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think too that it's going to bring in a different type of audience. A lot of people that watch IndyCar don't watch NASCAR. A lot of people that watch NASCAR don't watch IndyCar. So while it probably, they might not be happy about sharing their weekend, I think that altogether it'll be successful for both of the series to bring in new fans. Because we see a lot of, at least on our side of the internet, like a lot of these newer fans, especially, young female fans coming in, and they're not like content with just Formula One anymore. They want more. They want more to fill their calendar and more that they can attend in person. So they're turning to IndyCar and they're turning to NASCAR and IMSA and different series that are more local. So I think that it's happening at the right time that they're trying to kind of do this double weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be very beneficial for both.
Yeah, it's nice that we get to see two of those back to back with the trucks, and then with NASCAR itself the following weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for the trucks.
Yeah.
As an IndyCar fan, you have to be excited for the trucks because you have Dario coming in and driving this. You have James Hinchcliffe, who's going to be making his Truck Series debut that weekend. And there's a lot to be excited about there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like even I've just seen like Formula One fans themselves be like, oh, what? Like they know James Hinchcliffe because he announces for Formula One sometimes. And I feel like they're like, wait, what's he doing racing again? Yeah. So I feel like people are excited and bringing in more audience, like we said.
I think what terrifies me a little bit is, you're taking the Truck Series to a brand new road course, street course for that matter. Given the stereotypes of the Truck Series, it's like, oh boy, that there could be a lot of cautions in that race.
Yeah, we know a couple of those terms get pretty tight in the IndyCar, so I can only imagine what the trucks are going to look like.
Which a little bit more agile of a machine than a F-150 or a Silverado.
Yeah, I think we're newer, like NASCAR, trucks, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series fans. Yes. But so I've actually only ever watched the trucks on like ovals. So I'm super interested to see what it's like to see them racing on the street. So
yeah.
The Truck Series though in the last couple of years have done some unique things for the audience with like you have Frankie Muniz who given my age and I love Malcolm in the Middle. That was one of my favorite shows growing up. And to see him out on the track, it's like, hey, this is kind of cool. It's like Malcolm's out there. And I know he probably doesn't like people referring to him as Malcolm, but actually he did a commercial where he was doing, they're making like Malcolm in the Middle puns the whole time. And he was, you could tell I don't think that really bothers him whatsoever. I think he's enjoying himself. And, last weekend at Daytona, you have Cletus McFarland, who I'm too old to have heard of him before he got involved in ARCA and in NASCAR, but it's like, this guy's kind of funny. Like, he's very authentic, and I can see why he has this online mass following that he does.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I will say I guess we know Frankie Muniz more as Agent Cody Banks. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen him in that. That was more of our generation, like, oh my gosh, Agent Cody Banks is racing in the trucks. Yeah. But yeah, I think that they do a good job of bringing fans in. I know we also, we're huge Corey Haim fans, and really just like his whole Haim time, his whole like thing of like Haim time, like they're good about bringing fans in, and it's nice. It's nice to watch it. So I'm excited for it.
We talked. You talked about with the trucks and kind of being that stepping stone to the Cup Series. One of the things that changed last year with the Fox TV is that the IndyNXT, the development ladder for IndyCar, is now getting televised. Before it was like, where did you watch that? And the answer is I don't know. Like I honestly I can count on one hand how many IndyNXT events I'd watched before last year. Yeah, and you got a lot of young talent in there in that group that you're starting to see. Well, already seen some of them come up into the main series, and it's like you're getting the eye and the TV and the social media on these kids when they're 16, 17, 18 years old now. Once they do come up, people already know who they are instead of like, who the heck is this guy? Like, where did he come from? And, what's he, the son of a wealthy CEO getting a ride because he's the son of a wealthy CEO. Is he? No, actually, this guy has a legitimate background. You know, it's good to know these things up front so you're not out there like, who?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because I feel like the IndyNXT like ladder into IndyCar works so much better than the Formula Series.
Yeah.
It's good to like get that light on them, like you said, to like actually see what they're doing and who they are.
Yeah. I think also a lot of like social media is a huge thing for IndyNXT as well. Like obviously the races are being broadcasted, but the names are just going to be more familiar the more that they're putting them on social media. I know none of the drivers love doing social media content, but a lot of the younger fans, that's what they enjoy about it. So the fact that they're able to bring in people specifically for handling the social media management of the IndyNXT drivers is really good. And it's going to help them in their careers, as annoying as it is probably to sit there and like answer their favorite color over and over again. It gets them the fan base that they need to grow their career.
Yeah.
And it gets their name just more familiar, and it just more opportunity, more sponsorship. So I do think it's good, as well as like we said earlier, that we're getting a lot of younger fans coming in through social media. So younger fans, they want to see drivers their age. They care about the drivers their age. And that's going to also help, I guess, put more of a spotlight on those feeder series, you know, in F2, IndyNXT, and some of the other series.
So I am being summoned by my little one, so I unfortunately will have to step away. Pleasure to
Bye,
meet you
Eric.
guys.
Bye.
Happy to have you around.
You.
We'll see ya.
As far as the schedule goes, you know, we've talked about Phoenix coming in this year. Is there, you know, I think the other thing that we're not talking about enough as the IndyCar community is the loss of Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been brutal to watch. You know, what was it? Just 3 years ago, they had the Hy-Vee stuff. They had the big concert, the multi-day festival. It was sold out, and then they repave part of the track and kind of ruin the race. And then next thing you know, there's like 5,000 people in the stands last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
like
it's brutal.
Yeah.
Like Post Malone and Kelsey Ballerini were performing at the Iowa
Yeah,
race.
literally
Like,
2 years in 2024. It was these huge artists.
Yeah.
And now it's unfortunate.
It's
And I
really
think
sad.
it's also located in an area where, you know, we're fortunate, like in Cincinnati, that we have pretty easy access to a lot of different races. We're drivable to Indy, to Mid-Ohio, to Nashville, to Detroit. We are in a very lucky location, but Iowa was one of those farther out cities that, you know, a lot of those fans don't have easy access to really any of the other races. I think the next closest is Milwaukee, and that's still pretty far of a drive for a lot of them. So it's unfortunate.
I used to live in Chicago, and I explored a couple times going out to an Iowa race, and I'm like, it's like a 4-hour drive from Chicago. I'm like, do I want to really go out to Iowa? And I never did. I kind of regret that I didn't, but it's just, it's a very strange place to, because it's like you're a little bit outside of Des Moines, which is, you know, the biggest city in Iowa, I think. But it's not exactly a major city.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if you look at, you know, like you look at Barber, that's kind of a out there too. But my geography and my brain's failing me. Is it Birmingham that it's near?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So maybe my brain isn't quite failing me yet here. But you know, you look at the other cities, and it's like that they've gone to over the years, and you have Atlanta, you have Charlotte, Miami Homestead, Texas Motor Speedway's outside of Dallas. Phoenix is 40. You know, it's, I guess from downtown Phoenix, it's like 20 minutes. Las Vegas is on the basically the far north end of Las Vegas, which isn't that far from the Strip. You know, it's out there. Like, it's just too out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get why, like, you know, obviously the fans not being there, it's as even if IndyCar wanted to keep Iowa around, their hands were kind of tied with that. But it is disappointing to see that race. I mean, we are getting, I'm excited for Arlington. I'm excited for Phoenix, obviously. So there are some other new races coming that are worth being excited for, but still disappointing. So
yeah, it's like, I think, like with Milwaukee, I feel like they're starting to figure that out. The first year they went to Milwaukee, it's like, yeah, Milwaukee's back. And then, like, if you didn't make a pass within 2 laps on the restart, it's like, it's just follow the leader until the next caution. That's kind of boring. But, and that's like, you look at some of the people out there, and obviously Santino Ferrucci is a very polarizing figure in the sport. But his aggressiveness, and you look at it like when Jimmy Johnson was driving a few years ago, and he's trying to pass people on the outside of Iowa, and you hear the broadcast booth like, and somehow makes it stick, and then everyone else is like, wait a minute, I can do that too, and it's like. It's like, I think he quietly did a lot of good and showed that, like, hey, you can push it, at Texas a little harder on that outside line. And even before they took Texas away, that last race was really good, if I remember right. It's just like,
I mean, like you said too, like the outside line, like driving on the high line, we saw it in Milwaukee last year with Christian Rasmussen. Like, I think that is the most like exciting 20 laps of IndyCar that I've seen in a long time. Like that, I was on the edge. We watched that together actually. I was on the edge of my seat for that race, and it's because he was pushing it to the limit, taking the high line. He was, getting creative with his racing. So I think that, even with the performance that he put on last year in Milwaukee, I think more people will be looking forward to the Milwaukee race, and it's something as small as that can make a difference in the success of how a race does in, years later. So
100%.
And you look at the schedule too, there's a lot of changes too on the schedule this year where, there were a couple of years where it's like same schedule. But then, like, the other thing we haven't even mentioned yet, Toronto's moving to a new location this year. Where, I mean, I know absolutely nothing about this new course. I'm not sure many people do at this point.
I don't either.
It'll be interesting. They changed the season closer from Nashville to Laguna Seca, which is heartbreaking for us because we've gone to Nashville as the season closer for the last 2 years. And always really looked forward to that. So that's a little disappointing.
I took that personally.
I was a little offended by it. But, there are definitely quite a few changes.
So, the whole taking personally, I know exactly what you mean. And, we're back to, Phoenix, my home area. The last time they were here was 2018 in March. And my kids were born in January of 2018. So I was dealing with newborns. I had no intention of going because there's just no possible way I could go. But two, I didn't even know, like, I completely forgot that there was a race. Granted, I had other things going on in my life, but I was thinking about it, like, there was no advertising for this race whatsoever. I saw, like, on the highway that I would take to my office, I would cut through Tempe into Scottsdale, that it's the funnel where ASU and the airport and Scottsdale and Mesa, where all the spring training homes, all that comes together right through. It's like one of the worst interchanges. There was one billboard advertising the race that I saw. I saw no TV ads whatsoever. There was nothing in the airport. They made no effort advertising it. And then the race was kind of a stinker. And I'm just, then they didn't come back. They're like, all right, well, so much for that. And I'm like, thanks. Now that I care again, I was going to go. You took it away from me. You took my race away.
I can't. It is shocking, like, the lack of advertising some of these IndyCar races have sometimes. And I feel like definitely with having Fox, it's helped stepped it up a little bit, but I still feel like there's more that could be done.
I mean, Mid-Ohio, like, I don't think there's they probably don't even have a billboard for Mid-Ohio because it's in the middle of nowhere. Where would they put it? So that's like another one where, like, it's difficult to advertise for because it's literally in the middle of
nowhere,
like country roads.
Yeah.
So and I guess I'm not local to the area. Like, are they talking about it on the radio or
the news?
The news? I don't know. I can't imagine that they are. So it's one of those things that it relies on Fox to kind of broadcast it on their own. And I do think Fox is doing good, but there's still definitely room for improvement.
I mean, this year they came out pretty aggressive with the commercial that implies that Joseph Newgarden is a serial killer. Like I saw that, I was like, ooh.
The raw meat, I couldn't do the raw meat. I couldn't do
like,
that.
With the raw meat, like, oh, gross.
Yeah, I love that they're being like they're having fun with the commercials, and almost all the commercials are great. Yeah, but that one, they lost me when he was licking the raw meat off his fingers.
I was like, that's gross. And
yeah,
I don't know if you know Andy Amendola of Red Racer Books. He writes children's books. I'm plugging his book again. This is the ABCs of NASCAR. This actually just came out. If you look at the back, Eric and I were consultants for this book, so you can see our name if you go to the back page, which is fun. But Andy wrote a book with Joseph Newgarden, and he actually did a second book with his wife. And he got to know him very well and says a lot of really nice things about him. But it's just like you don't get to see the personality. And then you have the last year with the Penske scandal. And or I guess that was 2 years ago now, wasn't it?
Well, there was one, but both years. Because the first year was the
first year he wins, he's getting cheered, places going nuts. He finally did it, and then the year two is kind of. I mean, he also passed Pato on the last lap, which
it was tough.
Passing your most popular driver in the series, that heartbreaking moment. But he was getting booed by some people. Like it was tough, seeing that on.
It's hard. Yeah, he gets the reputation of being like this this bad guy in the media and this public enemy. But we actually were talking about this recently in an episode. But he genuinely is one of the nicest drivers that I've met. Like we use an example, like every time we've been to like an autograph signing, like they're like, okay, like it's 3:00, time's up, like all the drivers are getting up, like he'll stay longer and still get through as many people in line as he can. And I've only ever had positive interactions with him. Not to say that we've had any bad interactions with like other drivers, but like he truly is just like a nice person.
Yeah.
He's just super serious when it comes to like racing. And I think that he balances it really well being like a human and then also being like a very determined race car driver. So I think people often just see
Yep.
Exactly. So, but yeah, he had some bad luck last year, and he was obviously frustrated in the media quite a bit because of that, and I think people took that and ran with it. So I'm hoping that his luck
also
turns
did
around.
The thing with his social media where he like unfollowed like everybody and just like I'm here to focus on winning, and it's just like you've got the heel turn right here. And the one thing that Andy told us, so. When he wrote the book with Joseph Newgarden, and they did a special promo with the book that the first 500 copies that were sold were signed by him. And so when you'd order, if you were in that first 500, you were getting a signed copy of the book. So how did they coordinate this? So Andy at the time lived in Miami, and I want to say it was in between Indy and Detroit when this happened. He and his wife flew down to Miami, went over to Andy's house, and spent the afternoon just signing the books in his living room. And they
really
had
nice.
dinner, and then they went back and got back on the plane and flew back and went to the race. And he's just like, this guy who won the Indy 500, who's won the IndyCar Series, he's just sitting in my living room right now, autographing 500 copies of the books, and my kids actually have 2 of the copies of it. So, but it's just like IndyCar has struggled with storytelling. I feel like, not to say they haven't tried. It hasn't got out there. And I use this example a lot where I like my, my mom used to go to the 500 every year, and then after the split, stopped, and I don't think she's been to a 500 since. But if you ask her, who's the first name you think of when it comes to the IndyCar Series today? I'll see if you can guess that. What name do you think she thinks of? Somebody who's been a fan in the past, kind of out of it now. Who do you think she says as Who's the most popular driver in the series?
Scott Dixon.
No.
Oh, really?
They race part-time now.
Oh,
Connor Daly?
Elio?
Mirrorball.
Oh,
Next
Elio?
hint is Mirrorball Trophy.
Oh, okay. Elio.
Elio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still a lot of people think of him because, like,
Yeah, for sure.
he was the last personality that crossed over into the mainstream, and it's like they know him because he went out and won Dancing with the Stars and just has that charming, charismatic personality that crossed into the mainstream, and they haven't really had a driver do that since. Everyone knows Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. People still make those references, with NASCAR and driving jokes, but IndyCar doesn't, outside of Castro and Nevis, they haven't had a guy like that, and they used to all the time.
For sure.
Yeah. And even then, like, I would say the one that's probably closest to doing it is, who actually isn't even racing anymore, is James Hinchcliffe. He was racing in IndyCar. And even then he does other motorsport stuff. Like you said, he's doing the trucks. He's commentating for Formula One. He also went on Dancing with the Stars. But
That's right.
even that though, he's not currently racing. So like none of the current drivers, they don't branch out and do the other thing that will get the general public or the non-motorsport fans to see them as a recognizable person. Majority of the people, and especially me before I became an IndyCar fan, any of the IndyCar drivers could walk down the street and I'd be like, that's just another man right there.
Yeah.
So like, I think that, or like before I became a Formula One fan, I would have recognized like Lewis Hamilton walking down the street, but I can't say the same for any IndyCar fan. So I do think that there's definitely like some work to do. I agree. I think Fox is helping with that though, and they're prioritizing like the advertising of it, and they're putting the commercials out during the Super Bowl, and they're putting the commercials out during the Daytona 500, and it's a start. But yeah, it's definitely a long way to go before we find those I guess recognizable faces for the IndyCar series.
Couple years ago, it was like the day before the 500. Eric was at a house party, like a block or so away, and Rinus VeeKay is just randomly walking down the street, and a block away from the Motor Speedway, and Eric and a few other people at the party like, is that Rinus VeeKay? Like, but it's like everybody else is like, the driver, like like they recognize the name, but they couldn't associate the name with the face. Like,
yeah,
he was just another guy walking down the street, that day. And
yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, even like in Nashville, like everyone is there for like it's during the IndyCar race in Nashville, and you'll see like a driver walking down Broadway the night after the race, and like we're like, oh my gosh, that's Scott Dixon. And everybody else is like doesn't even like turn their heads, and that's specifically in the city where the race is happening. So it's super. I mean, I'm sure that the IndyCar drivers don't mind it because again, they probably like having that
bit more
freedom to do that. But it's
not getting mobbed is always a nice thing. You go out and have dinner with your family. But it's like with Scott Dixon too. It's like Scott Dixon is arguably the greatest athlete that has come out of New Zealand to the United States ever. I mean, I can't think of too many people that have come out and been very successful, but it's like even people in New Zealand don't know who this guy is. And it's like, there should be statues of this guy in New Zealand. So you should be celebrating him as an icon. This man won the Indianapolis 500. This guy has like tied the record for most wins all time in the series, I think. You catch it? Am I making that up? I don't know. Facts don't matter anymore.
I don't know 100%.
We make up whatever we want. Who's going to fact check me?
No, right?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Because I think also like motorsport in general, like again, like Formula One is on a global scale, like and probably the most watched. I don't know stats, but I'm sure the most watched motorsport series. And even then, like, yes, people are going to recognize Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton and Charles and all the big ones, but like, Charles Leclerc. But the other ones, like again, like to the general public, like, probably aren't super recognized. And you can take one of the least popular, like, basketball players and I don't know basketball too well, so I couldn't name you which one as an example. But, like, people are going to recognize him more just because basketball seems more, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
It's also an interest. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like, back to IndyCar a little bit, like, they have definitely gotten better, especially with 100 Days at Indy, but they focus a lot of their, like, promo and advertising so much on the 500 that, like, still to this day, I've had people be like, wait, there's more to IndyCar than just the Indy 500. I'm like, yeah, there's a full season.
Yeah.
And then people just genuinely still don't know. Yeah. Like, they're all over. Yeah.
Which is so crazy. It's always, there's always this trend that the 500 month, May comes in, it has really good ratings. It's the most watched, or sometimes Daytona, sometimes Indy is the most watched motorsports event on the calendar in the U.S. on TV. And Detroit the week after, wherever they went in the past, when it was Belle Isle, pretty good ratings, and then you see,
just sinks.
Just you let the air out of the balloon. And I think part of it too was after Detroit, they would take like a month off.
Yes.
It's like you just killed your momentum, guys. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that happened a bit last year too with the ratings at the beginning of the year. Like St. Pete had good ratings, and then they went to Thermal, and then Thermal was kind of a bit of a disaster for viewing from on TV. And then after that, it was like a huge break. And all of those fans that they got from that first race in St. Pete after Thermal, and then having no race for like a month and a half, luckily right after that is the month of May, so there's some momentum there. But they lose a huge chunk if they keep having those huge breaks in between.
Yeah.
Which I do think the calendar this year is definitely better spread out, and it's going to be a little bit more consistent racing. Because then you go to, after that, like race after race after race after race every single weekend. So it wasn't super consistent. And I think that, with fans and any sport, when you lose the momentum, you lose a lot of fans. So I think that's super important too.
I think it's probably also frustrating for the drivers to be like, oh, we have these like breaks at the beginning of our season, and we're going like back to back to back weekends. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then they end the season so early, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, especially with being on Fox now and Fox exclusive, and it's just like, does Fox really want to put the IndyCar race at Nashville up against whatever NFL game in September, October?
Right.
Like,
I don't think they ever will.
No, they won't. And it's just like, IndyCar is over for, and NASCAR goes for another 2 months basically after that. Formula One's going into December, and it's just like, I got all this excitement, and I completely forgot about the IndyCar season because it's done at the end of August, or mid-August, or what was it, like the 20th of August last year, something like that?
Yeah, it was, last year Nashville was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
The season closer. And, But no, it is, it's the longest break for any of the big racing series. Like even IMSA has a shorter, I guess, winter break than they do because they end in October, they start in January. So you again lose a lot of momentum and a lot of fan engagement during that super long winter break, and it's it's always around like January where I'm like, oh, IndyCar's coming back. Like I got to get back, like in the mindset of IndyCar because it's. Yeah, no, exactly. I'm like, what even happened last season? What am I missing? Because it's such a long break.
And and Eric and I, we run an IndyCar league on iRacing. It starts back up next week, and but we've been off since like late October, and I like, do I remember how to drive this car now? And, by the way, iRacing at the end in December rolled out the hybrid pack finally, so now it's like, oh crap, we got our first race in a week and I don't know how to drive the hybrid, so I gotta figure that out. Oops.
I have to do my own testing.
Yeah, it's, but like, going back, you mentioned the Thermal Club. I always thought that was that was clearly a band-aid to the schedule, but it's just like, you're trying to grow your audience and get people to come out to this, and what do? you go to a country club in Palm Springs, California, and have it at a place where you can only hold a handful of people. Like that, that's not going to do it.
No.
And then when you broadcast it, you're going to have it cut out multiple times throughout the broadcast.
Yeah.
And then when the broadcast is there, the timing page is going to be wrong. I have a lot of beef with Thermoclub, as you can probably tell. But, yeah, a lot of people they were not a fan of it. It turned a lot of people off of it.
Absolutely.
The fans that came in for St. Pete, they were like, not interested after Thermal.
I was just like, and it, and then on top of that, what we did see was extremely boring. Like it didn't help things either.
So
It was like the trifecta of suck, basically. Like, no. Please, you want to do a preseason test? You're fine. Don't put that on the calendar ever again, please.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Agreed.
But it's I think to sum this up as we get close here to wrapping this up is it's like good baby steps, but is it enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not yet.
I do, and again, we're newer fans, so we don't know. I mean, past a couple of years, just like what we know, but you've kind of experienced it from majority, if not all of your life. But, like, even I will say the difference between a couple of years ago to now from what we've seen and what we've experienced as fans, there's definitely a lot of growth there. And I say this, we post on social media. We love social media. I think social media has a lot to do with it. I think Fox helps it, and I think the combination. But social media, like, the new fans that have come in, as much as you can, call them, DTS fans, those fans of Formula One are coming over to IndyCar, especially the ones from the United States. And I've seen a lot of people even from Europe that are like, oh, I'm going to start watching IndyCar. Like, I need something more than Formula One. And I think that they are still young enough where they're not going to have a huge impact, but they're going to continue getting older. They're going to raise their kids in that environment. So, like, I see the growth there, but it's going to be one of those things that we're not going to see the full benefits of it for a while.
The other thing that, and this same problem with NASCAR, is that there's a factor of disrespect from the global audience when it comes to racing on ovals, where it just gets kind of, oh, you're turning left 4 times, how exciting. But then you go and you ask, like, hey, Oscar Piastri, would you ever race in the Indy 500 if you could? And you go, no way. And like, why not? Because you have to be insane to do that. You're driving that fast, that close to each other. No, for 200 laps, no, you're insane if you want to do that. And it's just like, the drivers know, they respect. Like, there's the respect there. And one of my favorite NASCAR moments from a few years ago is Jenson Button, who Formula One world champion, drives a NASCAR race at COTA, and he finishes the race, and he's like, man, he goes, that was like the most exhausting thing I've ever done in my life. He goes, that was like the up and down excitement of an entire Formula One season in just one race. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And it's just, there's this disrespect where ovals, turn left, turn left, turn left. I'm like, nah.
We love ovals.
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, that's what I grew up, that's what I was raised on, One of my earliest memories as a kid, I was 4 years old at the Motor Speedway at a practice session. And, this is how much things have changed, but this is, 1989, 1990 at this point. And I'm there at 4 years old, no hearing protection with those old cars.
I never had hearing protection.
And it was so loud that I was crying because it was so loud. It hurt my ears so bad. And that's like one of my earliest childhood memories is my parents subjecting me to that noise. And it's like, and I'm like, and it turns out this is like my favorite thing. And after that being my first experience with it.
Yeah, still love it.
Yeah.
Still love it. I mean, the earring's definitely down, but always make sure we go to the track, make sure we get the earplugs. They're packed in the case for the kids. Got the earmuffs. We're good to go. 2026, a little different than 1989.
I'm sure, yeah.
I remember the first NASCAR race I went with my dad, my uncle, and my cousin. And my uncle brought hearing protection for my cousin. And then I remember I was like, why don't I have any?
Your dad's like,
I was like, I don't know, because we would always like, they would always have like the get loud graphic, and my dad and I would love it. We would like turn it up, the TV up all the way. But I was like, you love the loud sounds.
Yeah.
As a kid, also was just like going over my head. I was like, no, I don't need that.
I don't need hearing protection.
When I moved out here in 2016, so Eric was living in Colorado at the time, and he flew out, went to the fall race with me. And my wife went, who had never been to a NASCAR race before. She was of the, you know, oh, this is a bunch of rednecks. And I'm like, well, yeah, yeah, but no.
Can be.
Well, we, none of us showed up with hearing protection at all. And after, like, the first caution, I got up from my seat and I walked down. I'm like, how much are hearing? Okay, the little foam things are $3 a person, whatever. You know, it's cheaper than a hearing aid. I come back, I'm like, here, put those.
Put them in.
Yeah.
Never make that mistake again.
No.
Always keeping them packed.
Yeah.
All right, I think we hit our 40-minute mark here. So, again, appreciate you sitting down, you know, with Eric for the first bit of it. He just texted that bottle and bedtime routine got completely screwed up. So, oops.
Oh no.
I'll call that my revenge because as of Saturday, Eric was not going to the Daytona 500. Sunday morning, I wake up and he's texting me photos of him in the infield. I'm like, excuse me?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Apparently somebody he
How
knew
did
had an extra ticket. Like, you want to come along? I'm like,
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
yeah.
But you're like, no.
But how can you say no to that?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah, absolutely.
I can still be bitter, but I will be bitter.
That's so
You
fair.
got the you know, one of the key motorsports bucket list items checked off this weekend. So,
Oh, yeah.
yep. So as far as social media promotion, where do we find your show? Where do we find you on social media?
We are Podium Pop on YouTube and Spotify, and then we have Podium Pop socials on Instagram and TikTok. Mm-hmm. And then we both also have personal social accounts.
Yeah, social accounts. So yeah, if you go to Podium Pop, you can find
Yeah, you'll see everything there.
pretty much everything. We have our link tree in all of our bios. So
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit the follow. I posted on my my personal Instagram account for like the first time in 6 months yesterday or last week. So I'm like, hey, I remember how to do this. You know.
I got one posted.
I mean, on our show account, you know, we're always posting race results and our banter
yeah.
and everything else. So it's like I'm not anti-social media. I'm just like, you know, you say like when you're doing this, it's like you're kind of a character, even though you're not. It is a performance in a way, and it's like
Yeah, it is.
performance me versus like I'm super boring in real life. It's like if you ever would come up to me on the street, you're like, wow, this guy is like really boring, and he's probably like, don't bother me, you know. It's like, but you know, you put the camera on, and all of a sudden you're you know, get the performance going, and here we go.
Yeah.
yep,
Get the
absolutely.
episodes in.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having us on.
Yeah, of course. How many episodes have you done?
Oh, that's a good question.
We over like 130 maybe.
Really?
Yeah. I think in fact, this is like our
Shocked.
This is our third. So we're starting our third year of doing it. We started in January of 2024, and we've been posting
Almost every week.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
consistently.
We'll skip a week every now and then. We've never gone more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Except I think
wow.
like during Christmas, we'll skip
Yeah,
2
we'll
weeks.
do
But
a little break.
Wow, you're way more dedicated than we are. I mean, this is going to be episode 100 and I believe 57 for us. And
Okay.
but what we do is we typically follow the race season, and we'll start in like late January, early February. So this is like our 4th episode of the year, I believe.
Yeah.
And then kind of cut it off at Thanksgiving and just kind of take December and part of January off and just like
Yeah, for sure.
regroup. We'll start back again.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about podcasts is they say if you make it to episode 20, you are in the 1 percentile of shows. Most
wow.
yeah, there you go. So most episodes will fail by episode 3.
Yeah.
I can actually see that.
I
And-
can totally believe that.
So with you being at 130 something, you're probably at like the 0.00001 percentile. So like you're there,
Yeah.
like you've made it. But yeah, it's funny when you go and look for like racing shows and it's like, oh, here's one. Oh, they haven't posted in 2.5 years. Oh, they did 3 episodes
Yeah.
with the last one in 2021. Oh, here's a COVID show. Like this guy started
Yeah.
in March and ended in June. You know.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot actually, where we get like podcasts following us quite a bit, and they'll always like start out be like episode 1 here, and we're super excited, and then we'll be like, hey, whatever happened to that?
Like, where'd they go?
What happened to that
Episode-
podcast?
yeah.
Like, yeah. So there was one that started. I won't name them. I'm not going to call them out, but there was one that started like right around the same time as us.
Yeah.
And we were always like, okay, like let's try to like kind of keep on pace with them, like make sure that we stay consistent. And then we like interact with them a lot. Like they were super nice. And then one day we're just like, hey, we haven't heard from them in months. What happened? And they just stopped posting.
Gone.
So consistency. I know. Yeah, consistency is huge.
Yeah,
so
it really is.
Yeah, and it's fun too. Like, as our original plan was, we're gonna do like a 15-20 minute update show and just kind of talk about the real world. You know, half of the time we'll just talk about what was on TV. You know, spend the other time talking about some of the iRacing stuff we've done. And it was kind of a serious thing. You go back, it was really stiff and pretty awful. Those first, you know, they say it takes like 50 episodes to find your rhythm. And I completely believe that. For us, it might have been 100 episodes to find our rhythm, but that's, you know, here and now. But you're trying to find your rhythm, and you find what works, what doesn't. We experimented with like a weekend show, but then realized it was like cannibalizing on our main episode because we were publishing it too close together. And we one day had this realization, like, we're not serious people. We don't claim to be serious people. Why are we trying to do a serious thing? Like, we're not. Like, if you want technical expertise, you're not coming to us. I mean, and I said to Eric, like, we're a bunch of idiots. Like, we're really stupid people. And we need to be taking advantage of that. And so we came up with the tagline of, you know, 2 idiots talking racing, ... and stuff. Because it always goes on top. And, you know, it's like, it works. And then we put these stupid cartoon logos. If, you know, with you being in the Midwest, you might be familiar with Bob and Tom, the morning radio show. Maybe not. Aging myself here. They're still around, but Bob retired years ago now, but they were on for like 40 years together. But you'd always recognize them. They were based out of Indianapolis. They did a lot of stuff at the 500, but they were syndicated nationwide. But they didn't take themselves seriously at all, and their logo with these 2 like cartoon caricatures of themselves. And we're like, you know what? They were kind of an influence on us and what we do growing up, and like we should tribute that, not rip off, but rip off, but tribute that. And it's like now we have cartoon caricatures of ourselves, and we're putting our caricatures of ourselves on the side of our NASCARs that we're driving. And somebody ran into the back of me right where my, you know, going like this is. I'm like, that might be a message to me, maybe. But yeah, it's a fun journey. We enjoy what we've been doing, and you know, I hope, you know, continued success with you, and hope you continue enjoying and evolving as time goes on.
Yeah,
Thank you so
The
much.
best to you as well. We will see you guys next time, and soon we should be talking about our predictions for the motorsport season.
Yes, and we have a lot of thoughts on those. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you go follow us on social media. We're Podium Pop on everything. Keep up with our content on there because we're always putting something up there. And yeah, some more fun racing coming.
See you next week. Bye.
So Eric ditched us. That's, you know, on brand for him, but I'll have to do both of our outros here. So at FR Racing Online on most socials, at FR Racing Online on YouTube and Twitch. And this week, actually next week, is the return of the Indy Racing World Series on Tuesday night at 10 p.m. on Stadium Scene TV. So check out at Stadium Scene. Actually, Bottom Split Racing Series is back Monday night at Talladega. That'll be chaotic. And Wednesday Night Dash will be at Kentucky Speedway on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for those, and we'll see you next week.